but as an actor, you're working on different jobs. And I find myself after a hard day, probably like most folks, you want to drink. And I always say, if you get opportunity to have one drink, it's got to be something that makes you feel like you're on vacation because you got to get back to work the next day.
How you doing today, Lamorne?
Dude, I'm good, Grant, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm so excited to chat with you. I mean, I'm sure you hear it all the time, but I'm a big fan. It actually started with game night, and then an ex of mine got me on the New Girl, and here I am now, loving everything that you put out. So,
dude. Man, I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
Absolutely. I always like starting by sharing the love I have for the people I talk with. So want to get that going. And now let's get into this Mike's Hard Lemonade campaign you got going on, this obstacle course that sounds like it's an absolute blast. You've, of course, been part of many commercials throughout the years. You've been a spokesperson for, I believe it was the Bank of Montreal at one point. And I'm curious what it was about Mike's Hard Lemonade in this campaign that sparked your interest to be the face of it.
Well, it just made sense for me. A lot of times you get the opportunity to partner with someone and it doesn't necessarily align with what you do. Sometimes it doesn't have to. It depends on what it is. But in moments like this where I am speaking about it, and there is an event that we have coming up, it makes sense, and it's probably best if you're aligned with whatever messaging that is. And I came up with so many weird jobs, some harder than others, some really stupid. And I'm still working now in a different medium. But as an actor, you're working on different jobs. And I find myself after a hard day, probably like most folks, you want to drink. And I always say, if you get opportunity to have one drink, it's got to be something that makes you feel like you're on vacation because you got to get back to work the next day. Mike's Hard feels like that. It's a very sweet, it's desirable. It's one of those weird drinks that you're kind of like, oh, this just tastes great. It doesn't feel like a harsh, burning drink, if that makes sense. You want to actually relax. And so when they brought this up, I thought, oh, that's cool. Like that makes sense. People work hard. They should reward themselves. And we want to get that messaging out. You know, people need to chill out and relax a little bit.
Yeah, especially in the summertime when it's hot as hell everywhere. So,
oh yeah,
absolutely. So I love that. And so talk to me about this obstacle course that they've got planned. Did you have any input on some of the games, or did they sort of present it to you and you just were like, all right, I'm ready to promote this and see how this goes?
They presented it to me. However, there are a few more obstacles we're adding that I created, right? And I've got your promise.
Sure.
Yeah. We've got folks. I mean, and some of it is entertainment based, which is kind of my wheelhouse. Like being a weather person. People feel like that might be an easy job. Just got to point at a green screen and go, "It's gonna be hot up here. It's gonna be hot as hell over there." That's rain. It's not as simple as one may think. So we're gonna see and put people to the test to see if they can cut the mustard on some of these gigs. I'm gonna add some dramatic monologues to that. I'm gonna test people's monologue skills. We'll see whether you're a taste tester, a bookseller. It doesn't matter. We wanna challenge folks. And then at the end of the day, which is cool, they can go back and then they can to the Mike's Hard booth, and we're gonna just kick it and have a drink and just chit chat. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like a great time. I wish I could be there for it because it sounds like quite the experience. And you're actually going to get to be there and interact with some of the contestants.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna try all these jobs. And I'm gonna make side bets with people. Oh yeah. I'm all over this one.
So you mentioned it before, you've had a wide range of jobs prior to becoming an actor. And since this obstacle course tackles so many different fields, is there any one portion of the obstacle course that you might find yourself a little worried about trying to do it correctly?
I would probably say weather person. And here's why. Because I'm in the entertainment space. And I'm used to teleprompters and I'm used to those things and being live in front of like a group of people when you're taping a show or whatever the case may be. I don't want to screw that up because that'll be saying a lot about my skills as an entertainer. because you don't just have to be informative; you have to be entertaining as well. And so I'd be a little bit nervous about that one, just because if I do a bad job, they'll judge me. They'll judge me a lot harder than they would in any of the other jobs, for sure.
I'm sure they won't judge you too harshly, especially coming into my first question. Aside from the Mike's Hard Lemonade campaign, the fact that you are now an Emmy nominee, which congrats, that is such an awesome thing. And Fargo, it has the dark comedy to it, but it is, I think, one of the heaviest things you've tackled as far as drama goes, aside from maybe something like Woke. And I'm curious what it's like, getting that nomination, especially for your performance in Fargo.
Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. Like when I first got the news, I couldn't speak. I was just crying the whole time, and my daughter was laughing at me. She's going, "Oh, Daddy, you crying again?" It's like, you don't understand. I'm so happy. So it's been a blast. You work hard, and it feels good to be recognized for all the work you've put in. I've been in this business for a while, and to get that recognition, it means a lot. Literally means the world to me, just because, like on theme, we talk about different jobs that folks have had. You land in a spot in entertainment and you realize that you're doing the right thing. And it feels good to be reminded that you're in the right zone. Like, this is the thing that you're meant to be doing. And here's this recognition, here's this acknowledgement of that. So it feels really good.
Well, I'm glad you're getting that recognition, because your work in Fargo, I believe it was season 5. It's crazy to think they're already up to 5 now, but it was incredible. And so another question I had for you, I really love the Jumanji movies. I couldn't help but have fun seeing your cameo at the end of Next Level. Obviously, you and Jake go back to the New Girl days, but I'm curious, was that cameo meant to just be a sort of, hey, do you want to reunite with one of your New Girl collaborators? Or was it meant to sort of maybe set you up for a bigger role in the third movie, should it get there?
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. Jake, so they do table reads for the scripts, and almost the entire cast was there except for Kevin Hart couldn't make it to the table read, and Sir Darius Blaine, who plays Kevin Hart in the show, but the younger version plays Fridge. And they weren't able to be there, and Danny Glover wasn't able to be there. So Jake Kasdan called me and asked me if I wanted to fill in those roles, to just read the roles. And The Rock, and it went well. It was really funny. I was sitting right next to The Rock, and The Rock at the end of it made an announcement. He said, this is proof that we can make this franchise without Kevin Hart, guys. and so at the end of it all, there was this one little scene, the tag at the end of the movie, that I just out loud yelled, "I'll do this. I want to play this role." And Jake was like, "Really? You sure?" And I said, "Yeah, it's awesome. I want to be in Jumanji." And so he gave me the role, and it just so happens to be set up for the next film. So hopefully, if they've written it already, that there is a role in for me as the star of the film and the new leader of the franchise. Thanks for saying so.
You're welcome. I hope it happens. I hope you get a big role in the next one, because again, it would be so fun to see you interact with everybody, especially if you're already there, reading some people's lines off in the table read. You got the feel for the franchise and the flow. You're ready to go.
I know. I'm ready to go already.
So another movie I wanted to look at, I mentioned it at the top, is Game Night. I adore that movie. I'm actually talking to Billy Magnuson after this interview, funnily enough.
Tell him I said as one of my best friends in the world.
I love that. I'll be sure to say hi. And so there have been some fans who kind of are interested in seeing a sequel. And I know the directors have kind of downplayed it because they feel it ends pretty well. But what are your thoughts on the possibility of a follow-up to it?
I would love one. Are you kidding me? It set itself up for a sequel. And I just had so much fun working on that project. We shot in Atlanta, which is one of my favorite cities to be in. And the cast is great. Everyone was super kind, super nice. I had a lot of nerves going into it, working with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams and, Jeffrey Wright, at least folks on this movie, Michael C. Hall, that I thought, oh my God, these are iconic Kyle Chandler. These are folks that I admire so much. I'm a little nervous. And they made it feel like you were in the most comfortable of spots. It was just, Jason was so loose on set, improvised a lot. You know, Rachel would throw like barbecues at our house often, you know what I mean? And just create an environment. If you're working on a project, you want your leads, you know, the heads, the stars of your, whatever it is you're doing, to lead by example. And that's what they did. They made it really comfortable for us and really easy for us. So we got to perform at the best of our abilities. And the same with John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. They laid an environment out for us that was super, super easy. If we get a chance to do that again, it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean?
I hope they find a way to make it work, or if not, they find a way to get you in Dungeons and Dragons 2 at the very least, because I would love to see you work with Daly and Goldstein again. That
yes.
Seems like a dream collaboration.
Oh my God, put that out there. Let them know. Tag them.
Final question is one you probably can't talk too much about, but it's one I know I'm very curious about. I read you're going to be in Spider-Man Noir. You're going to be Robbie Robertson, a major character of the Daily Bugle. So what can you tell me about how this show will differ from some of the previous versions we've seen, especially in regards to your character?
I will say, well, I can't say much. I can't say much at all. But I will say it'll be unlike anything you've seen. The way they're shooting it, what they're creating is, it's like I said, it's unlike, and having Nick Cage, you know, that he's already one of the more iconic figures we've ever seen in entertainment, and his performance style is crazy. So I'm really excited for folks to see what we cook up. Like I said, I can't say too much. You know how these things go. But I can just tell you that it'll be unlike anything you've seen, you know, performance and visually.
Well, I don't want to get you in trouble with the Marvel folks, so I won't pry. But I did want to ask because, again, it's something I'm excited to see. So in the meantime, though, I look forward to getting the word out about this campaign, man. It sounds like such a fun time, and I'm going to be looking out for videos and stuff for it, see how it turns out. So, Lamorne, again, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an absolute honor chatting with you.